My name's Nicole. I'm based in Ireland, along the northeast coast, so just north of Dublin. I work in PayPal and have done for 7.5 years now, I think. I do work within the compliance function of the company, but my passions are very much within development and coaching, particularly in the leadership space in the company. So that's where I'm trying to navigate into. Actually, it was through my partner, Tony. So he was looking for different coaching organizations in via LinkedIn. And that's where he came across Coacharya and connected with Magda. And they started conversing about doing coaching via art. And I thought, oh, I really like the sound of this company. Could you introduce me to Magda? And that's how it all started. So I met with Magda, gave her my background, what I was looking for, and yeah, and that was almost a year ago. So here I am. I really liked the sound of systemic coaching. It was not something I had actually heard of before. In reading the introductory component on the Coacharya website, it talked about how it would work well in a corporate environment, which is where I am. And also, it was really appealing to hear a concept of mastery level coaching. I had already completed foundational certification, which is what sparked my interest in the first place. So I wanted to challenge myself to go to the next level, and also to learn about systemic coaching and see what opportunities that might actually bring within to the corporate space that I'm in. There are many. I think meeting Ram and Magda, they're both amazing people, and also the people in my group who I've gotten to know since June of last year. They're such a lovely bunch of people, such a diverse bunch of people. I am fascinated by all of their different backgrounds. And I just loved the way the course was run. It was very accessible. I looked forward to it every week. I don't want to finish when we do finish. I want to continue in some way with Coacharya. I know I'm not picking one thing here, but there are many things about the course that I loved and my experience with Coacharya. So I want to continue that relationship going forward. I think there are two reasons. One, for myself. I wanted to give myself an opportunity to maybe branch into that area on a professional scale, and also for credibility in the workplace. So if I've been trying to act as a coach within the area that I'm in, because currently there is a real need for it. But in order for people, I suppose, to take me seriously, having the credential behind me to show, I've done a lot of work in the area. I'm practicing. So I think that really helps. But as well, it's something that I would definitely consider as a professional career. So that's twofold. Again, there are many. But there's one question that stays in my mind just as you asked that. And it's the very first question that Ram asked on day one of the course. And that was, what does the universe want from you? And I had never heard this style of question before. Usually you think about what you want for yourself. But it was a very different perspective to try to think, what does the universe want from me? And to this day, it has stayed with me. It's like a practice now, or like a mantra. I ask myself all the time, is this what the universe wants from me? Am I going in the way I should be going? So whilst I've learned a lot of very useful and interesting theoretical concepts and a lot of useful practices, from a probably a personal perspective, that's the one learning that has really helped to shape me even more in the last year. Oh, I've learned so much more. I think I thought I knew a lot about coaching until I did this course. And probably one of the biggest things that I've learned that is how important listening is in a coaching conversation. I would have classified myself as a good listener pre-Coacharya. But when I started the program, realized actually, no, I'm not as good a listener as I thought I was. So that's probably been my biggest approach in terms of coaching practice. The biggest change is really focusing on listening to the client, and even reflecting back and on conversations and thinking, have I actually really listened? Have I heard what they've said? Did I miss something that was important because maybe I wasn't listening or I was distracted? Or so I think that's probably the biggest change in my approach, is rather than focusing on, what will be my next question, just really listening to the client, and then it naturally just comes what you want to ask them. That's probably the biggest change. Well, professionally, it has showed the leaders that I work with that I'm very serious about that as a career. And they have actually allowed me to embrace that, and to gradually move in that direction within my career in the company. So it's been great actually that they have recognized that and allowed me to pursue that. And then on the flip side, it has actually got me thinking, could I branch out and do this by myself? Could I start my own coaching practice? Could I connect with Coacharya more on a professional basis, with credentials, etc.? So that's where I think it's definitely shifted my mindset in terms of what my career goals were versus what they are now. I learned a lot about myself, actually. So one, that I wasn't as good a listener as I thought I was. But I've learned, this is probably quite a vulnerable disclosure, maybe how judgmental I was. So coaching teaches you to remove all judgment when you're working with a client, and to be aware of your biases, maybe biases that are subconscious, you're not even aware of them, and how they may actually impact a conversation or a relationship. So I really took a lot of time to reflect on that, to really try to understand, do I have biases? What are they? Do they actually impact the conversations that I have? And maybe more when I was practicing, my coaching with family. That was probably more challenging to remove bias and judgment, but in a good way, because it challenged me to take coaching to another level with people that you're very, close with. So they're probably the biggest things I think that I've learned about myself. I think what Ram, Magda, all of you are trying to achieve is amazing. I have loved working with Ram, with Magda, with Cindy. It's been invaluable. The programs are just so robust. There's just so much to learn, and there's a genuine care for your development and for your learning. So they genuinely want to see you grow as a coach, and will provide that mentoring feedback, honest feedback, in order to help you get there. Whereas the coaching program I would have done in the past, you didn't get that same experience after 6 months. That was it. You were, pretty much left to your own devices. There was no mentoring or anything like that. So I think that component of it is really important in order to really help you grow as a coach, to recognize, where you need to improve upon, in order to actually get to that, mastery level, if that's the level that people are working towards. I think many people would, because if I just think about even the group that I'm part of, there are people there for many different reasons, whether it's to just improve their communication, to listen better, not necessarily for credentials. They just want to learn about coaching. If some people maybe are on a self-discovery journey, I think it would be huge, actually, because, there's so much self-coaching that you do as part of the program. And really that's key in order to becoming a better coach. So I think people on a self-discovery journey, and then people who are maybe looking to understand more about the profession, really understand what coaching is, and what it's not. And then if people are genuinely looking for, that professional level of coaching and the credentialing. So it's very versatile and really is open to many different people. And I think some people who go in with the mindset of, I'm here to learn about coaching, I'm not really concerned about credentialing, end up working towards credentialing. Because why not, when you've learned so much along the way? So yeah, it's very diverse. My advice is just do it. And it's funny, I'm actually remembering a conversation with Magda before. She asked me a question and my response was very much like that: just do it. Because what you learn it's actually life-changing. It's not just, like any other course or program where you're just learning theory. It really is not like that at all. There's so much practical element to it. Then the relationships that you forge with the group are relationships that you'll keep. So if there was anyone thinking about starting with Coacharya, I'd highly recommend it. My partner, since I've done this program, my partner is thinking, why didn't I do it when you started? And I've said to him, just do it. You should. So yeah, I would say go for it. Just do it, because it really is invaluable.